The subset of climate scientists is not all that large, so I really don't care what a doctor in biology has to say about climate change. He knows as much as I do. So it depends on what they have a doctorate in, right? So you're right. There are a lot of climate scientists and climatologists who have said that global warming is an absolute fact, and anthropogenic global warming is an absolute fact. They have very different measurements as to how large that effect is going to be. There is a broad range among climatologists, as far as I can tell, among how much the climate is going to actually change and what is the direct impact of carbon emissions on that, given the fact that for the last 15 years there has been no global warming. The single largest study of global warming that was done in Britain, it turned out a lot of the data was actually kind of falsified. So I'm not saying that it's not happening. It may be happening. I'm happy to say that it may be happening. I may even be happy to say that it's probably happening. But again, unless you have a solution to the problem that does not involve killing off millions of human beings, no, but this is I agree. But the problem is that if you're going to make, this is another issue where the demonization is significantly more important to the left than actually solving the problem. Right? So everything that the left says about climate change is basically, you're a climate change denier, therefore you're a fool. Right? As opposed to, okay, maybe you're wrong about climate change denial, but here's the solution that you're ignoring. Where's the solution that's being ignored? Right? I'm sorry, it's not Holocaust denial. The use of the language denier is pretty ridiculous on its face, considering that 30 years ago they were claiming there was going to be a grand ice age that was going to freeze us all to death. So, I'm willing to wait for the evidence to come in, especially given the fact that we don't have a good solution for it at this point. Once there's a plausible solution that the left actually wants to propose, we can talk about costs and benefits of it. But I also have to understand what exactly is the real imminent threat to human life. I mean, the idea that the gradual rise of sea levels is going to kill hundreds of millions of people it's just fantasy. It's just fantasy. It's not going to kill. They act like the day after tomorrow is how global warming is going to be. Right? Like a giant wave is going to sweep in, and then the next morning it will freeze, and all of New York will be under ice, and Dennis Quaid and Jake Gyllenhaal will be trying to fight their way through it. That's not how global warming is going to happen. Right? Global warming is going to happen. If it does happen, the rate they say it's going to, it's supposed to happen over the course of the next 100 years. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that all of the water levels around the world rise by let's say 5 feet over the next 100 years. Say 10 feet by the next 100 years. And it puts all the low-lying areas on the coast underwater. Right? Which, let's say all of that happens. You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move? It's not like it's all going to happen at once. Like there's just a big tsunami that comes and wipes out everybody. So human beings have a way of adjusting. Human beings have a way of dealing with these things. And I have more faith in human beings to deal with the crucial move from Santa Monica to the San Fernando Valley than I do in okay, we're all going to stop using our cars, burning coal, and using electricity. That seems to me a much worse solution than, okay, I'm going to have to sell my beachfront property at a discount price. By the way, that's who it's going to hit, the people with beachfront property. It's not going to hit anybody in Indiana. You're pretty safe. It'll be all right.
The question is, in terms of what's been going on here and over in the UK with Brexit, there's this now massive attention being paid to globalization.
Yes, globalism, yes.
And the
globalists.
Globalists. And then the fact that these trade deals are now like the big talking points in much of this election. I guess between the trade deals and the effects they've had on the country and maybe in the UK too, I don't know their stats that well, but between that and then actual like technological advances where drivers will be replaced by automated drivers, there will be more of a mass elimination of potential jobs of low-skill workers.
Right.
Who, in theory, who should be responsible for, I guess, creating given who we have running the government now, who should be responsible for creating a plan for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million additional unemployed people? And depending on what your answer is, is it more Darwinian, or is it obviously not preferred, but an expansion of the welfare state?
Okay, so a couple of things that, and I'll just take one. We want you to ask, but I'll take it as a leaping off point. So you mentioned this globalism, globalization, globalist. There's this kind of word that's being thrown around in this election, globalist, a lot. I know it's leading Drudge right now. Trump is beating the globalists. Yes. I think this is mixing up two definitions of what globalism means. There's the globalists, as in people who want global governance, like the UN and the EU, who actually promulgating regulations on people they don't govern. I oppose that, right? That's why I was in favor of Brexit. Then there's globalism in terms of free trade. Yes. I'm very much in favor of that. because I like cheaper products, and I think that if you make a cheaper product and I make a cheaper product, we should be able to trade with each other, and it's none of your damn business to take away my ability to buy a product or produce a product to be sold in another nation, right? Because I'm for freedom. I'm not in favor of government intervention. As far as who's responsible, like who takes care of these people, the truth is that the economy, I mean, this is an unpopular answer, but the market takes care of these people, because the reality is that the percentage of unemployment in 1900, right, when people weren't even making cars, right? They were still doing what happened to all the horse and buggy manufacturers? Right? All of them ended up finding other jobs. This is what happens in a developing economy. And the economy is constantly developing. So that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for people who are thrown out of work. It isn't. And this has been true since the days of the Industrial Revolution, right? There was a whole group in Britain called the Luddites, and they would go around literally smashing machinery, right? Because the Industrial Revolution created these machines, they were all out of work, they couldn't do the work by hand. They would literally go around blowing up machines to the extent the British government made it a death penalty offense to blow up machinery, because it was becoming so prevalent. Well, the British economy didn't collapse. The British economy continued to grow, right? The Industrial Revolution drove the British Empire to new heights. The reality is the technological change is good for people, because it means that we don't have rotary telephones anymore. We have the iPhone, and we have people who work on the iPhone both here and overseas, and we work on different products. Somebody tweeted at me the other day, you know, back in the 1950s, 90% of T-shirts were made in the United States. It's like, yes, so now they're all made in Vietnam, and we make iPhones over here. It's better. Right? The purpose of the economy is not to create jobs. It's to create better products that we all have the power to consume. And in a country where even the poorest people have an iPhone, it's very difficult to argue that technological development and free trade have really been a net loss for the American population. That doesn't help the guy who loses his job. It doesn't help the guy who loses his job. But unfortunately, it's your responsibility as an individual human being to cultivate skill sets that allow you to make that labor transferable. And all of these, and you can have government actors lie to you. I mean, everybody just wants somebody to lie to them in the end. When the government says we have a make work program or we have a government training program, none of these have been proved at any point to actually create jobs or help people transition into new jobs. Because as we all know, anybody who's ever worked a job, where did you learn to do your job? Working at the job, right? You didn't go to a program. When I was a lawyer for 5 minutes, right? I didn't learn how to be a lawyer by going to law school. I learned how to be a lawyer by actually being at a law firm. And this is true for the vast majority of people. So anybody who lies to you and tells you that he's going to bring jobs back by shutting down free trade with China or such nonsense, he will bring a few jobs back, right, so to speak, because he'll penalize all the rest of us by making us pay higher prices. But he's not going to bring jobs total back. He'll kill the economy. So it's hard to say to people, your life is in your hands, but that's what freedom is called. Your life is in your hands, and it's not my responsibility to take care of you. It's your responsibility to take care of you. It's your responsibility to take care of your kids. And I'll give you a helping hand if you come to me and you show me that you're willing to work. But that's my decision. That's not your decision to distribute my property.
Possibly better to redistribute wealth then, so that others are able to rise up, join the middle class, procure a better education so that they're a better workforce to compete on a global scale.
Redistribution of wealth does not achieve competition. Because it turns out that what actually achieves competition is the sort of values that you impose in your work life. This is why if you have a bunch of people who win the lottery, disproportionately people who are poor and win the lottery end up poor again. The reason people are permanently poor in the United States is not because they don't have money, it's because they suck with money. The reason people are temporarily poor is because they don't have money. The reason they're permanently poor, okay, this is self-evident, folks, that's not even controversial. If you're poor in America your entire life, you are not great with money by definition. Okay, name me one person in America who's phenomenal with money, but is poor for 80 years in the United States. Anybody? Names? Anyone? Okay, military veterans. Okay, military. Okay.
Test. I'm sorry, Mr. Shapiro. I'm at a point right now, quite frankly, where I'm going to dismiss the students. I know there are other questions that would like to be asked.
Why?
With all due respect, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Shapiro represents a narrative that he's providing to all of you guys based off of his opinions, what he believes, and what he wants to share with all of you. I know that the education was there for all of you to understand left side, right side, whatnot, but also the opportunity was allowed for him to impress upon you some of his opinions about certain things. And I think the lesson was there for me to understand and also for all of you to understand. I think what this is getting into now is it's starting to cross the line. And
what would that line be?
Why are they crossing the line? I don't see nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let me ask this
You're
question.
the one who's crossing the line.
Let me ask this question. If, for those students who would like to be dismissed, I'm allowing you to go ahead and do so at this time. For those of you who would like to continue to listen, you can remain and listen to Mr. Shapiro and also the information.
I know. I'm telling you, it's hard.
Keep on asking questions. There's still people who want to say.
I'm going to get the mic.
Guys in a classroom with a monologue on politics without the kids walking out. That'd be awesome. So now people in the state of California can't do that.